Smoke 'em if you got 'em. How y'all doing? Happy Saturday morning. Everybody got their coffee? I know I do. Whew. I'm just going to let this play from the start just to remind myself and everyone else kind of where we are. There were quite a bit of views from last week. So first off, I want to say everyone that watched, thank you. Everyone that watches this one, thank you even more. So let's get heavy with it. Let's just dive into this song and see where we're at. Heavy metal on Saturday morning.
Collapsing inside the
Yeah, man, that's pretty heavy. I've kind of forgot how heavy this tune was. Happy Saturday. Hope you had your coffee. If not, you need to get some. So, I noticed we were clipping. We were pushing a little bit too hard. So, I'm just going to kind of start over on my balance, and I'm going to add a limiter to my drum bus probably. So, let's check that out. See where we're hitting. Let me get to where the drums start. That would be nice. Yeah, we're just a little too hot right there, so I am going to go with just a re-limit for now and see where we roll. And I'm not really wanting to do much of this except keep it at around -3. And we'll see what happens. Every song's different, man. Going to toggle off this limiter to see what it does. I'm going to push my snare real hard just to see how it clips it. I think we should be good. That snare's still a little bit dark though. Let's hear this one. Yeah, that needs a gate bad. So we will go with gate. Gated, no, I don't want the gated reverb. Gated D-bleed tight. Yeah, not that one. Let's hear it with the rest. Cool. Now we're back with the drums hitting it around -3. And that's still pretty hot, but I like to push it as hard as I can. That way my mastering doesn't really have to do much. And I'm going to be the one mastering this, so I don't really have to ask for permission. Because even on top of that -3, when we add everything else, as you see, it was starting to peak back at #1. So we're going to have to balance this back out. Let's just solo out the drums and add in each piece. Fat bass sound. should be good on the clipping side. If not, we will readjust. One thing I was noticing on that first run through is this huge gaping hole it's got in this low mid range in between 100 and 200. Check it out. You can see that big dip right there. So we are going to have to address that. I don't like to address any of those issues. I like to, on the master, this is when I would kind of go to individual tracks. I'm going to check and see if anybody's even watching, which really doesn't matter. I'm just doing this for shits and giggles anyway. Well, yeah, it's working. That's all that really matters, I guess. Okie dokie. Well, let's carry on. I'm going to solo out these basses and try to add a little bit of the frequencies that we are missing. On the low end, since my kick is at 60, I'm going to set this bass at 120 to kind of match it and boost right there. So it's kind of in the subharmonic area of the kick. I'm going to add in the DI bass. So we had 120, I'm going to go with 260 on this next boost for the bass. Now I'm going to add in the dirty bass track that we added in the last video. That you split the bass track in half and run it through like a Marshall cab. As you can see, there's no frequencies really below 200 or above 5K. Here, let's hear that by itself because it's kind of an interesting fact. It won't sound good by itself. But it gives it some grit. And I want to put my I want to put my bass signal in a lower sub than my kick. So right here it says, it says put below the kick. So that's where my sub frequency is going to go, is below 60 hertz. Let's see if that helped in our big gaping hole. Maybe a little bit. I'm gonna, on my shells bus, I'm gonna add a little bit of that missing piece at 200, just a tiny bit. I'm also on my shells bus, also going to make sure I'm boosting at 80, not 120, because that's where the bass is. So we'll leave this little boost at 80 hertz for the kick. And it also, I found on kick drums, if you give a little bit of a tug at 80 hertz, it sounds good on a cell phone. It's really sad that we have to think that way these days. Like, man, I wonder how this sounds on a cell phone. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, we're getting better. Let's see what we can do with these two solo guitars and those frequencies. I'm gonna make the Q very narrow, and I'm gonna boost all the way up and then do a sweep to find a pleasant frequency in the range that we're trying to affect. I don't want it to be honky, so I'm like nasally. So just above that at 800 or around 750 or so, I'm going to give a small narrow cut. I'm going to toggle on and off this whole effects rack and see what we're actually doing to this signal. Yeah, I'm just brightening it up. Taking out some of the mud and adding some frequencies that I was searching for. So let's try it on this right side, same guitar. Yeah, you can see we're just brightening it up, giving it some life. When the check mark is engaged, all of this is engaged. This is it without. Dial back some of that fuzz. Let's hear it with the other side. Let's hear that in the mix. Let's see what I got going on with my kicks. I have a little bit of a boost at 60. Let's go with 2. Nope, not 25, 2. I'll have a 25 dB boost at 60. These are the jokes, people. I bet with this weird... as you can see, that's a very tough frequency area. I'm going to add a visual EQ just to check with my eyes and see what these frequencies are doing. I try to stick with all analog EQs if possible, but a lot of times it's not. I'm going to EQ this before the bus compressor and see. That's a really even guitar signal. I'm not doing nothing to that. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh yeah. Since these are my far most stereo guitars panned hard left and hard right, I'm gonna kind of cut these lows. You don't want to, on your far stereo side, you don't want a bunch of lows. A lot of people do a mid-side processing stuff on the master. I really don't like doing a lot on my master, so I like to do it on the individual tracks. I'm gonna show you what I'm cutting by soloing this out. You want to basically cut until you hear something. See, right there, we're starting to hear something, kind of. So I'm gonna toggle this on and off right here, and if I notice a difference, then I've cut too much. Awesome. We don't need all that stuff because it's not making a difference. So let's do the same thing to the top. Just starting to hear it. Let's solo that out again. You can hear what we're going to cut. It'll just be like fizz. Do you hear that fizz? So that's what we're missing. Alright, we got a much more level guitar sound on our DI bus. Let's see if it made a difference in our big gaping hole. Alright, I'm going to go back to old school kind of rules where there's certain frequencies that just kill guitar. I'm going to kind of point those out. This one will be a frequency that almost sounds like a sonar boop. So that's what we're listening for. Kind of like sonar. Let's get this a little bit more narrow. Hear that sonar resonance? It's like boop, 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 like you're hunting for like submarines and shit. You don't want that. You don't need that in your guitar signal. So I'd go with about -3, and I'd watch what you cut in this range. I wouldn't go more than -3, and just a little bit of a cut, because if you cut too much here, it'll add a resonance up here. Anything you cut or add, like if you cut something here, it's going to add it up here. So we don't want a resonance at 2K or in between. So 3K, any much more than that, and it's going to cause phasing issues, which cause the frequencies above it and the resonance above it to react to how much you've cut. Another of those guitar frequencies that just, it's almost every guitar signal, it's uncanny, is at 4K. So we're just going to boost the hell out of this and solo it so I can show you what 4K sounds like on a guitar signal. It's ugly. Hear that? And unlike the other one, the other cut, you can get pretty drastic on the 4K cut. So I'm still going to start at -3, because if this causes a resonance issue up above it, it's a good thing. These are frequent. Anything above, that's good, and we can attenuate later. You don't want that shh in your guitar. So I'm also going to do the same thing and cut above and below, and basically cut until we've noticed the cut. And if you notice the cut, you've cut too much. We're getting there. Okay, now we get into a tricky area of boosting, which can cause problems. Cuts can too. I'm more of a subtractive EQ guy. I don't add a lot. I more take out frequencies I don't want. Except in this case, when we're missing frequencies, like that big gaping hole in our master. So what I'm going to try to do is find a low mid frequency that complements this guitar and sounds good. So I'm going to start at 420, because, yeah, I ain't got to explain that to all y'all. And that's going to give it, and I'm only going to do that on the amp signal, not on the DIs. And then when that mixes with our DI signal,
science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships where we don't see what the other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations, many planets, many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing.
Tell me before remind me to fucking like to undo our planet's mistakes. Tell me before
Alright, as you can see, this trimmer right here is at the beginning of our master EQ. So as you can see, we're hitting around minus 12 coming in, but going out, we're hitting a little bit more. So to attenuate, I want all of these EQ moves to add vibe and frequency, but not volume. So I'm going to go with a minus 2 on this clipper, and I'm going to toggle this whole chain on and off and make sure I'm not adding volume. That's about right. I'm cool with adding a little bit of volume, but I don't want it to be where if I turn off this channel strip that my mix just falls apart. And I'm going to do that on everything on my master chain, just to make sure I'm not adding what I call artificial or fake volume. It's not good volume. Louder is not always better. So as I'm going to let it play for a little bit, you can see how that one's not highlighted. It's darkened out. That means it's not working. I'm going to go through and toggle all these on and off just to see how much volume each piece is adding. This FG Gray, I have it set up basically like an SSL bus compressor. I'm just basically fast release, slow attack, 2 on ratio, and I don't want it to add volume. I am going to go ahead and give it some low pass on this one and see what happens with the kick drum. What I did is I made it to where this compressor, my master bus compressor, doesn't compress anything below 65 hertz. That way my kick still has the punch I want, but it attenuates that snare and adds glue. And our gaping hole isn't so gaping anymore. It's funny how compressors can almost act as an EQ. One of the most important compressor relationships is the compressor on your drum bus, which kind of determines the vibe of the whole song, in my opinion. The relationship of your drum bus compressor and your master compressor have to really be in symbiotes with each other, because if one's killing it and one's not, they really have to work together. So the bottom one, this says mine is my master bus, and of course the one above it is my drum bus on my shells. So I'm going to make sure these two guys are working together nicely. Tell if I back off this ratio, more snare drum will poke through the entire mix. If I kick up the threshold on the drum bus, the snare drum will kind of sink back into the mix. So let's find that happy spot. Also on the snare bus, I'm going to add a little bit of saturation. A little bit of saturation on that snare will give it some snappiness without it'll also kind of tame it. It's weird. There's this cool snare magic setting that I start with. See how that saturation made the snare drum not so pokey, but it's still got the transients and the punch that I want. One thing I learned from watching Chris Lord Algae is if it doesn't sound good, just slam 8K into it. As you can see on this snare drum, I have a 10 dB boost of 8K. And just to show you, let's hear that snare bus, and I'll toggle on and off just this one. Let's see what it does. That's without. Here's with. And hearing it soloed, it sounds like it has too much smack. But you put that back in the mix, and that smack is what it needs. As you can see, we're getting a better balance working in our frequency range. And frequencies are important because if you want your mix to translate to a boombox, to a car stereo, and to a phone, all at the same time, these are frequencies that you really can't hear. And I hate saying it, but sometimes you need to mix with your eyes. There are frequencies that me, as a drummer, I just can't hear. I'm just honest. That's just how it is. And when I have any question about what the frequencies are doing, this Voganex span is a free plugin. So frequency wise, this is what my DI bus is doing. You can see we don't have any lows. So I'm going to go to the actual amp sims on this to make some adjustments, like if you were adjusting your amp at practice. Let's hear some of these screams and see if I can make those a little bit more tasty. Well, gonna need some coffee for this. This dude's gonna yell at you. It's what you get. Coffee. Okay. Let's hear what this dude's got to yell about. Definitely need a gate. Gonna go ahead and throw just classic gate on here with noisy vocal. I think he means it. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Yeah. The depression hotline is still a little bit too much. Dial back that echo. On these sins that I'm adding, I'm using the effects rack that we set up earlier. That is what I call my sauce. Anytime I need an effect, it's in that rack. I don't add a bunch of effects to mine. I like to keep things a little bit natural. Well, not natural, but logical. I'm gonna add a sin to my saturation bus just to give this a little bit more fur, you know, around the fur. hear that in the mix. I noticed from mixing my voice when I used to be a screamer in a metal band that if you're missing that, I don't know, it's like an acid bath grr to your screams. Boost some 1K. And it's that tone that we're all looking for in our high-pitched screams that we do in this metal shit. You know, wow. If you're not getting that crispiness that you want, it's in the mid-range. Just gonna have to watch out on that because it'll also make your vocal nasally, like. Did you like that noise? I won't do it again. Let's put a gate on the full vocal chain.
Kill me! There's nothing left here!
That way that gate cuts out some of the ugliness and a little bit of the breaths. I like to leave a little bit of breath, that way you know it's a human. Yeah, that sounds ugly. I'm glad I noticed that. We are going to move these into their own bus, these ahs. I'm just going to call it all bus. All bus. And I'm going to move that out of the BGV.
Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores.
That sounds pretty gnarly.
Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores.
Let's go to the tracks.
Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores. 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 Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores.
Let's give that some delay. Let's see what the throw does to it. But bring it way back, like minus 30.
Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores.
Hear that stain the shores echo? I just want a little bit more of it. Let's go with minus 25.
Black oil slicks, I still stain the shores.
That's not bad. Probably won't even notice it in the added into the mix, but it's there. All right, now let's do the ahs. Since we separated these two vocal lines, the ah bus. Oops, I got the ah bus turned all the way down. Gonna go with room delay. I mean room reverb. And a little bit of regular delay, just a tiny bit. Nice. Just to give these some weird vibe, I'm going to show you guys a cool plugin from the Slate All Access bundle that is just crazy. I mean, this plugin can make anything sound good and weird. If I can find it, it is, there it is, Murder Melodies. Great name also. Works really good on hip hop vocals with a lot of auto tune, which on these ahs, that's kind of what I'm kind of going for. Get that auto tune sound in there. I'm gonna take off some of this. This plugin is just so incredibly powerful. It does everything. That's normal, which is still good, but I'm going for that like rap, auto tune, almost robotic. This is here. I'm going to toggle this on and off. Now let's hear that craziness with a little bit more delay. I think that gave that some nice flavor. Let's hear what it sounds like in the mix. Another thing wow. Shh, everybody be quiet. There's something. On these guitar tracks, I'm noticing that this lead is getting pretty lost and buried. So I think I'm going to take this lead out of the bus, which would also be this lead. Solo these two out. Now they're going to be really loud because we removed them from their bus, which was basically their boss So we're gonna make their own bus. New bus, same as the old bus. Lead bus. Go back to the track view. Now let's see how it sits in the mix now and find its happy spot, because I don't want this lead to get lost in with the other guitars. Alright, I'm gonna simulate what mastering will do to this. That way I can kind of, because I want to know before I send it, which I'm mastering this myself, but most people don't master their own mixes. I don't have the cash to be forking out. So I'm gonna set a ceiling for streaming services, which it's common sense to follow what they say to follow. So -1 on the ceiling, because if not, when you upload it to Spotify, they're going to destroy the mix that you just spent forever trying to perfect. You're going to upload it, it's going to squash it, and it's going to sound like dog shit. So I always start with a ceiling of -1, and then I go -5. Oh, I'm sorry, I got these backwards. Ceiling at -1, threshold at -5. Excuse me. Let's see what this does. Going to be louder, so prepare yourself. Much better.
and one futurist. We're out there among the stars. And
Thanks, Rob.
as we read about
I see.
in science fiction movies, the good ones are true. We have these starships where we then see what other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations, many planets, many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing.
Tell me before remind me to fucking like to undo our planet's mistakes. Tell me before remind me to fucking like to undo our planet's mistakes. I see this world collapsing inside the mainframe. We have become.
I know when a mix is getting good because it makes me want to fucking tear my computer apart. When my head starts moving and I start gritting, that's when I know a mix is just about ready. All right, that's about an hour in, so I'm going to go ahead and let this play all the way through and see if I peak at all or if if anything bad happens. If not, I'm going to render this out and start testing it on different sources and master it. But that's pretty much the mix. It's pretty much as mixed as it's going to get. When you start bouncing it and testing it on different sources, you will find problems, but most of the time, the magic's in the mix. And if you get this a nice, solid, nearly flat wave across like this, I'm just going to let it play. And what we're looking for is somewhat flatness. Sorry. Here. Hold on. Let's get back to it. I know right where we was. We were right here.
There are two futurists, and one futurist were out there among the stars, and things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships, we then see what the other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing.
Tell me before it might be too fucking late to undo our planet's mistakes. Tell me before it might be too fucking late to undo our planet's mistakes. I see this world collapsing inside the mainframe. We have become the disease. I see this world collapsing inside the mainframe. We have become the disease. We've found us. We've found us. We're waiting for the empty.
All right, I need to kind of check out some of these synths on their own. Let's try this one. I'm going to toggle this on and off, make sure what I'm adding is pleasant, not the opposite. Hear that in the mix.
Before it might be too fucking late to undo our planet's mistakes. Tell me before it might be too fucking late to undo our planet's mistakes.
Guitar player's having a fit over there. Let's hear this sound effect bus. Interesting. All right, let's hear that in the mix.
Futurists, and one futurist were out there among the stars, and things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships, and we then see what the other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species, and the scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems.
Also on this piano, I added a delay. Let's check that out. Kind of wish there was more piano in this song. It sounds so cool with the rest of the stuff. I'm going to turn off this delay and show you what it adds. Here it is playing. Just a piano. I've added some top end, some nice 8K and vibe. Now let's hear it with the delay. To get the echo to match the tempo is the trick there. Let's hear that in the mix.
Consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing.
Tell me before it might be to fucking like to, or do our planet's mistake.
Another thing I noticed upon that last playback was right here. Some noise. Not on that one. Let's see if it's the DI. Oh, I'm soloing the wrong bus. That is volume pots on a guitar. Make sure your pots are clean, guitar man. Which sounds kind of cool because there's a lot of that going on in the background of this song on purpose. But that's on purpose. I don't like things to make noise unless I tell them to make noise. Let's hear that. There's still a little bit, so it looks like it's in the leads. Group these all together. You push S to split. I'm just going to edit all the silence out of these, which I normally don't really mess with all that much. To me, it's a little bit overkill, and it chops you have the potential for clicks and pops. So make sure when you do make these changes to add fades. You can set it up in Reaper to add those fades automatically, but when I'm editing drums, that is a problem. So let's hear this again. It's a little bit right before. Yep. And we fixed it. That's the stuff you need to listen for. That's what I love about Reaper. After you figure out how to use it like I have, you can literally blaze through any session, edit out all the bullshit, get it sounding good. And on this song, I'm only 3 hours into working on it total.
Futurist and one futurist were out there among the stars, and things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. We have these starships where we don't see what the other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species in a scope and scale of consciousness is expanded across many civilizations and many planets and many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing. Among the stars, and things we read about and see in science fiction movies, the good ones, are true. these starships where we then see what the other planets are like. We're a multi-planet species in the scope and scale of consciousness is expanding across many civilizations and many planets, many star systems. This is a great future. This is a wonderful thing.
Tell me before reminds me to fucking like to undo our planet's mistakes. Tell me before remind me to fucking like to undo our planet's mistakes. I see this world collapsing inside the mainframe. We have become the disease. I see this world collapsing inside the mainframe. We have become the disease. We've found us. We've found us. Watching, waiting for the energy.
I'm gonna make these basses match the guitars. I kind of want those all to end at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That way it ends with that synth. Bring these guitars in a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit more of those guitars. Fade a little tiny bit more aggressively. Yeah, that's good. And now I would bounce this out and start the mastering process. Thank you, everybody that watched today. Join me every Saturday. Next Saturday will be an all-new song. We'll pick it out together if you tune in. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm fixing to go to my mom and dad's house and watch some football and eat some barbecue. Y'all keep rocking. Get with the uppercut, baby. Get knocked out.